The two nations are cooperating to thwart Western aggression and sanctions because they share a common resistance to Western dominance. Russia's mistrust of the West has only grown as a result of its war in Ukraine. Meanwhile, because of its contentious nuclear program, Iran has been subject to severe sanctions from the West for many years. And now, these two countries are coming together to build a strong alliance that will affect the entire world. Ali Fakhri, the director of Iran's Organization for Investment and Economic and Technical Assistance, made a significant announcement lately. He declared that during the previous 15 months, Russia has invested $2.7 billion in two Iranian petroleum projects. This sum represents 45% of the entire foreign investment that Iran has received in that period. Iran made it clear that it is still unhappy about China's investment, which totaled just $185 million over that time. The biggest foreign investor in Iran these days is Russia. Over the previous 15 months, Russia has spent $2.7 billion in two oil projects in the western province of Elam. This represents 45% of the total amount of foreign investment Tehran has drawn in that time frame. China, Afghanistan, the United Arab Emirates, and Turkey were also among Iran's top investors. Furthermore, during 2023, Iran and Russia have been deepening their cooperation and connections. And evading the Western sanctions placed on both nations is their aim. The two countries finalized contracts for the cooperative building of gas pipelines and inked a number of agreements to increase commerce. And as a result, trade volume between Moscow and Tehran increased by 15% last year to $4.6 billion. A pact on free trade was also recently signed between Iran and the Eurasian Economic Union, which is headed by Russia. This is another step in the direction of deepening their connection. Their mutual interests are reflected in the robust commercial and economic ties between Iran and Russia. This further demonstrates their desire to find a way around Western sanctions, which will foster the growth of their commercial ties. Additionally, the Bank of Russia and the Central Bank of Iran have initiated the first stage in carrying out their coordinated action plan for banking cooperation. An agreement was made between the two central banks to link their separate financial messaging systems, SPFS and SEPAM. An essential first step in carrying out the cooperative action plan that the two central banks signed last year is connecting these systems. Additionally, the agreement signaled the beginning of the joint action plan's implementation. It is anticipated that the step will strengthen the financial ties between the two nations and facilitate information sharing and transaction completion between institutions. Furthermore, the financial messaging system's connectivity is a big advancement that will facilitate cooperation between the two central banks. The US has put restrictions on sales to Iranian companies that manufacture Russian drones on the Western Front. Because Iran produces drones that Russia deploys in Ukraine, the US has put 7 Iranian companies on its trade blacklist. Russia's use of drones manufactured in Iran has drawn condemnation and retaliation from the West. Furthermore, Washington is pressuring Tehran to cease its military assistance to Russia and to cease its repression of demonstrators. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Aerospace Force, design and manufacturing of aircraft engines, and 5 more Iranian drone-producing firms have been added to the blacklist. Furthermore, it was found in November that parts manufactured in the US and Canada were found in the wreckage of Iranian drones shot down in Ukraine. To stop such power outages, a number of nations have promised to provide ground-based air defense systems. The US claims that sending these Iranian drones to Russia for use in Ukraine violates both US foreign policy objectives and national security. Furthermore, putting these 7 Iranian companies on the trade blacklist will send a message that their behavior is intolerable and won't be accepted. According to a recent RUSI research, Russia's weaponry in the conflict in Ukraine were manufactured with advanced technology components by Western corporations. According to the research, foreign companies manufactured over 450 distinct components from 27 Russian military systems. Iranian drones were found to have more than 500 parts from 70 manufacturers spread across 13 nations, according to another examination. Furthermore, US companies make 82% of them. Among the vendors were ST Microelectronics and U-Blocks, 2 Swiss businesses. Swiss law forbids the transfer of weapons to nations engaged in hostilities, according to export regulations. Nevertheless, neither Russia nor Iran received any exports. Furthermore, it was determined that the businesses had not broken Swiss law. Currently, Putin and Raisi are working together to oppose Biden. Despite having diverse political philosophies and backgrounds, both leaders have attacked the Biden administration for its foreign policy towards their own countries. Raisi has chastised Biden for his tough position on Iran's nuclear program, while Putin has said that the US is arming Ukraine to combat Russia. Furthermore, the unification of Russia and Iran is indicative of a growing trend of countries uniting against the United States and its supporters. Rafael Mariano Grossi, the director of the International Atomic Energy Agency, has now issued a warning, stating that Iran possesses enough enriched uranium to make several nuclear bombs. This occurs as turmoil and tensions between Iran and the West escalate. Experts state that Iran's 60% enriched uranium is sufficient to produce one bomb. Iran asserts, however, that its nuclear program is for peaceful uses. In August, negotiations to restrict Iran's nuclear program broke down. Furthermore, it's unclear what will happen to the 2015 nuclear agreement, which limited Iran's enrichment to 3.67%. Similar to what happened with North Korea, there is a significant risk that Iran will expand its nuclear program. However, the US and Europe are dubious of Iran's assertions, and negotiations are presently off the table because of the country's continuing protests. Tensions with the West have increased as a result of Iran providing Russia with drones, though it's unclear what Iran stands to gain from this. Israel has also issued a warning, saying that it will not permit Iran to obtain nuclear weapons and that it has already used force to prevent other nations from doing the same. Currently, the West faces a serious threat from Russia and Iran's strong relationship, especially in light of the nuclear issue. Additionally, analysts believe that in order to find a way to lessen the threat, the US and the West need to take this relationship seriously. The International Energy Agency, IAEA, reported on Thursday that as crude export prices fell and volumes decreased, Russia's oil income fell in November to the lowest level since July. According to the agency's oil market report for December, Russia's export earnings for crude and oil products dropped 17% month-over-month in November to $15.2 billion, the least amount Moscow has earned since July of this year. According to IAEA estimates, revenue from product exports decreased by $800 million in November, while revenue from crude exports decreased by $2.4 billion month-over-month. According to the agency, Russia's total oil exports decreased by 200,000 barrels per day, BPD, in November. Due to shipping restrictions imposed by nearby storms, oil exports from Russian Black Sea ports were halted at the end of November. The storm stopped loadings at the Novorossiysk facilities for many days and had an impact on the Caspian Pipeline Consortium, CPC, oil terminal on Russia's Black Sea coast. According to the IAEA, Russian crude export prices also fell precipitously in November. On December 6, the flagship Urals oil grade fell below the $60 per barrel price cap as a result of declining global benchmarks. According to Bloomberg last week, which cited data from Argus Media, the price of Urals oil loaded from Russia's Baltic Sea port of Primorsk dropped to $56 a barrel, while the price of Urals at the Novorossiysk port in the Black Sea plummeted to $57. The West is thinking of making sanctions on those who violate the price cap on Russian oil more stringent. The United States imposed penalties on 2 vessels for breaking the price cap in October, adopting a more stringent approach to the sanctions against Russia. 3 UAE-based marine firms and 3 of their own boats were subject to penalties by the US 1 month later for carrying Russian oil that had been sold for more than the maximum price. What are your thoughts on Russia and Iran's growing partnership to destroy the West? Let me know down below. If you want to continue to learn about business investing and financial education, we have got this video waiting on the screen for you to check out. Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe for more videos like this. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one.